Welcome to this week's installment of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don Henninger. I'm Don, and with me, as always, is my podcast partner, Kevin Maxwell.
Don, how are you?
Kevin, I am good. You know what? We're back.
We're back.
It's been weeks, 6 weeks, I think, in fact, since we've had our last podcast.
That's our longest gap, and it felt like a long time.
It felt like 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, it really did. And now we're back, but only after a long summer off, but we're back in a new place.
We're here at the Studio Hub in Old Town.
Studio Hub in Old Town. We've moved to a new studio.
Yeah.
We've done 131 episodes at our old studio, and we found a better place to be.
It'll give us lots of opportunities moving forward, not only for our guests, but our audience as well. They can be able to experience this in a different platform, and it's going to be wonderful.
I'm looking forward to it. And you know why I'm really looking forward to it?
Why?
Because our first guest in this new studio is somebody we've been trying to get on here for months and months and months. Lissa Druss, we finally got you.
I am so happy to be here.
And I'll tell you what, we've been going back and forth, but sometimes you wait for things that come back and you're like,
I was just saying, maybe the universe was kind of telling us they're waiting until we get in our new space.
Absolutely.
I think.
Right?
So Lissa's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've got a great story. She's got a great story to share with us today, but just basically to tell you who she is. She's the external communications and government relations guru for Riot Hospitality Group here in Scottsdale.
I think my business card says director, not guru, but it's okay.
Guru, yeah. I like guru.
Okay.
We're gonna go
I'll
with guru.
change the business cards.
But you've got an amazing experience. How do you like Scottsdale so far in the summertime? This is your third summer in Scottsdale?
Well, don't forget, I went to University of Arizona.
You did go to UVA, but it's cooler down there.
And I've spent a lot of time in Arizona over the years covering spring training and football games and basketball games.
You have, that's true. So how's your summer been?
It's been wonderful. It's been busy. There is no off time.
Not when you're working for Riot Hospitality, there's not. Or the work that you do, there's not. That's for sure.
Yes. Politics and crisis do not sleep.
Right.
So we should say, though, to give a little background on Lissa, but she's got over 30 years of experience and 9 Emmy Awards for her work in TV and radio journalism. Amazing stuff. The expertise and her coverage has gone from coast to coast, and she's going to talk about that a little bit, or we're going to ask her to talk a little bit about that as we move forward here. But now she's the driving force behind Riot's national government relations, industry relations, and external communications work, with significant impact in cities like Scottsdale, Gilbert, Denver, and Nashville, right?
Absolutely.
So before we get into a little bit of, we really want to get into the meat of stuff, tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up and how you got to where you are today.
Born and raised in Chicago, just a small suburb right outside of Chicago. My father was a professional musician there for a very long time, very successful. So I grew up in the theater and the recording studio and jazz clubs, but I knew I didn't want to be in show business. It's a hard life.
Sure is.
So I was a major of bachelor. My degree is Bachelor of Fine Arts of Media Arts with an emphasis on television news production.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've worked in Tucson, Los Angeles, and Chicago, news and then sports. I had a blessed career. I traveled the world. I was a producer for many years for a guy named Lester Holt.
Lester Holt.
Who
is Lester Holt?
I think he's in Paris right now.
I think I've seen him a little bit.
Yeah,
right. The Olympics now or something? Yeah, okay.
And our bosses at WBBM in Chicago told him that he was never going to make it.
I love those stories when they say that.
That's a swing and a miss.
Yes. But everything from covering the O.J. Simpson trial to the Malibu fires to the Oklahoma City bombing to 3 Super Bowls, 5 of the 6 Chicago Bulls championships. Just an amazing career. But after launching a sports network in 6 different cities and spending my last 6 years there in 2010, I said, you know what? I loved being a journalist, but the business had turned into a business and I didn't like the business of journalism. So I went to the dark side and I started working in public affairs and crisis communication work.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you that industry can grind you down.
I was really concerned about myself working in Chicago mostly when I would say it's only 3 dead. It's not that big of a story.
Oh, jeez.
That could
Really?
be you get a little jaded.
And so, but my daughter was, I think, 2 or 3 when I left the business, maybe 4, excuse me. And I was really remiss that she wasn't going to grow up in a newsroom because I thought being a journalist was the best career ever, helping people learn about things. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power, no matter what it was. But now she has, in her young adult life, she'll be a freshman at U of A in a week. She's grown up in a civic-minded world. And that is just as important to me as being a good journalist. And She's gone to DC with me a handful of times. She's been on the Congress floor twice, voting on 3 bills.
Wow.
I mean, been in the press room of the White House, the West Wing, the East Wing. It's like, I look at her coming off the floor of Congress. I'm like, do you know that not everyone gets a chance to do this?
Right. Yeah. What a special memory.
Right. We can't go on the floor of Congress,
No.
but she can because she was a teenager or a young girl at the time. So thank God that she is civic minded, that she understands that she's interested in it. And she also loves what we do at Riot Hospitality Group.
We talk about people being civic minded all the time. We
We
need
do.
more people,
Absolutely.
particularly young people like that. So it's
Yeah.
really encouraging to hear that.
Absolutely. I'm proud
What's
of
her
her.
major going to be? Do you know?
She's majoring in business. She
Okay.
got into the Eller School of Management and
good.
she's going to go business.
Great. Now, there's one thing missing from your resume that you haven't told us about yet, which I think is very, very cool. What's this thing with the Italian government?
Yes.
Some recognition?
About 7-8 years ago, I was knighted, essentially knighted. I was bestowed an honor by the Italian government. So my title is Cavaliere, and under the Order of the Star of the Republic of Italy.
What? That just sounds so cool.
So the Order of the Star Republic of Italy is a section of honorees that are given this title for the work that they do outside of Italy to promote the culture and the heritage of Italy and our Italian culture. And it is one of the most important things in my life. And I hold it very dearly to my heart. And I wear my pin every day. And I thank God that I can do what I do for my country and my family.
So who gave that to you? What?
The Consul General in the Midwest Consul General, who's
Right.
based in Chicago, nominated me to the Italian government.
Okay.
Then it was voted on by the Italian Senate. I have a certificate signed by the Senate president. And then the honor was bestowed to me by the Consul General himself.
That's so awesome. Let's back up for just a second because I want to talk a little bit about you. You mentioned your dad was a musician
He was.
and you grew up in kind of a theater music kind of background and probably has a couple of cool stories that you can share with us about that too, right?
I never missed a recording studio of a Kentucky Fried commercial or a Ford jingle. And I still get residual checks to this day from jingles. He was the musical contractor of a place called the Mill Run Theater in Chicago for 14 years. So I met Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Jay Leno when he was a half of an opening act for Perry Como. The Jackson 9 when they didn't even have a musical director.
That's
My
right.
dad was a musical director. And then recording studios, every Curtis Mayfield album made.
Oh, wow.
The movie Superfly. In the song Freddie's Dead, my
Yeah.
dad's the flute player. Da 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 da
Right.
da 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 da. But he made his living on his alto sax. But he played 14 instruments. Ramsey Lewis was a dear friend of his, and they made music together for years. So, absolutely blessed way to grow up.
That is so cool. Kevin, that strikes into your heart and soul, man, as a musician, right?
That's just so cool. What an honor that would be. I would have loved to have met your father.
Yeah, he was absolutely a genuine person.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Kevin would have played drums in his band, that's for sure, right?
I'd love to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd have been it, man, for sure.
If you're in music, he would have just loved you.
Did you have any interaction with the Blues Brothers?
No.
No.
That's too
Okay.
bad. That'd have been fun, right?
Yeah.
The only interaction I've ever had with the Blues Brothers was going to see Saturday Night Live, and it was the 5-time show, and Danny Aykroyd was one of the 5-timers that came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
So-
Yeah.
That was a good show too.
Yeah.
So you spend time between Chicago and Scottsdale now, right? Pretty
Mostly
much?
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale. Okay. So
Yes,
yeah,
but
you've
I
been-
also I say I'm based wherever American Airlines flies
okay.
because I just got back from Denver last night, where we hosted Denver's National Night Out. I go to our Nashville locations frequently,
hmm
but our corporate headquarters is here. We have 14 locations across the country, over 1,000 employees. So we are a national hospitality management company based in Scottsdale.
So how did you get hooked up with Riot? How did that all happen?
December 1st, 2019. It's a day I'll never forget.
Okay.
A mutual friend in Chicago, a political friend, suggested to Ryan Hibbert, our CEO, and Alicia Casal, our general counsel, that we get connected, that he thought it could be good for Riot. And Riot at that time needed someone like me. And it was an instant bond that just grew like tumbleweed. And I was doing some work here and there, and I'd drop in and do this, drop in and do that. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago that I came in-house, and I'm my own department. But it is very important for a company like ours to have good government relations. It's very important for ours to have good communication and to protect our brand as a company. We have a marketing department that's amazing that promotes our brands,
Yeah,
our
sure.
stores, but I promote our company.
Yeah.
Right.
And I call it human relations. I would rather have a government official, an elected official, or a police department or an entity hear from us something rather than read it in the news.
Yeah.
And those relationships
just for
pay
our
off.
audience who's not familiar with all the brands, tell us all the cool brands that Riot has, because I think everybody's probably familiar with most of them.
We have restaurants, nightlife, and hotel food and beverage.
Okay.
So our restaurant concepts here in Scottsdale are Farm and Craft and Hand Cut Chop House.
There you go.
We also have a Hand Cut Chop House in Nashville. We also have a partnership with Caesars Republic. So we operate the new 7 restaurant on the 7th floor of the Caesars.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Getting great reviews, right?
Pardon me?
Getting great, outstanding reviews.
God, it's gorgeous.
I
It's
took
the
a- I
best
took-
sunset in Scottsdale.
I took a group of 10 to lunch there last week.
Oh, you did?
It was wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Our nightlife brands are Riot House, El Jefe, Dirks Bentley's Whiskey Row. We have 4 of those across the country. We have District Maya Clubhouse, and Cake, and we're opening a 5-star restaurant called Calle Rosa right on Camelback in a couple of years. We have a lot more concepts in the pipeline. We're opening up our 3rd location in Nashville, which is going to be gorgeous, huge, and beautiful on the corner of 2nd and Broadway. But it's really the people of our company that make our company fantastic. It's the culture that we have.
Mhm.
We care about each other. Our general manager at Farm and Craft started there 1 year after he moved here from Colombia, not speaking English and working as a prep person in the kitchen. And now he's our general manager.
Oh, cool.
No
That's
kidding.
so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've come to know you since, about 3 years now, since you went in-house with Riot and really became more of a regular fixture in Scottsdale. And I think you've done amazing work in Scottsdale. But so what does the scene in Scottsdale look to you in terms when you think of Riot's business in Scottsdale and the work you've done with government relations? How is that working? And what's your kind of routine and what's your experience been like working in the city of Scottsdale?
It's been fantastic. So keep in mind that the majority of my political career was in Chicago and Springfield, Illinois. And you can look up how many governors have gone to prison and how many elected officials have been, it's a really, really, really hard place to work. And
Never a dull moment, huh?
it was funny. I was on a call with someone last year on a strategy call. He was outside our firm, our company. And he said, well, Liz, I don't know how much you know about Scottsdale politics, but this, and this. I said, Joe Beercan, I grew up on Chicago politics. I got this. I know how to handle good relations.
Yeah.
But it's good relations that we have here with the city council members, with the police department, with the fire department, with the mayor's office, with the city administration. We have really strong relations. We work together. In fact, we started an association called Scottsdale Downtown Association, where small, medium, and large businesses come together to increase communication with the city and vice versa. We know what's going on because we are nightlife and we have regular meetings at the police department.
Right.
But we have small businesses, this one in particular, where we're sitting in the studio,
That's right.
that doesn't know what's going on. 99% of the population doesn't follow city council. And so how does the city push information out to business owners? Well, this is what we're doing. So every month we have a meeting. We had one yesterday where the police department is always there. Our commanders there giving us updates. We have someone from the city or a special guest talking about what's going on. We pepper in some tourism information. We ask questions, and then our members either are on that call or get a email sent out to them right afterwards. And we are more than welcome to take anyone if they want to join. It's like a chamber of commerce. It's a 501c6.
That's good. Yeah.
Your donation,
Yeah.
your membership is actually tax deductible because it's a C6 nonprofit.
Okay.
We're just trying to increase communication 2 ways. And while I work for Riot Hospitality Group, I'm an ombudsman in this organization because if I'm not, it's not going to work right.
You know what I really like about the city? We're in election season now, so that city council and mayors they basically come and go as their terms expire and so forth, and we elect new folks all the time. But what makes Scottsdale special? I think people forget this sometimes is the quality of the people who work for the city.
100%.
And we featured so many department heads and regular city employees on this podcast over the past couple of years, and we're always continuously blown away about how good they serve the city. And sometimes we forget about that.
In politics in every municipality, I'll enlarge the context of this. There are municipalities that are executive branch driven, and there are municipalities that are administratively driven. Scottsdale is an administratively driven community. There's nothing wrong with one or the other. You just need to know what you're working in. a city like Chicago is a executive branch driven. So having the institutional knowledge of the staff that we have here at the city of Scottsdale pays dividends. And that's why this city is being run efficiently.
Yeah.
That's why our budget dropped from last year to this year. If you have constant turnover from administration, that's, molasses.
Yeah.
For
Well,
a
it's like
municipal
business,
government.
right? Yeah. It's like running a business.
But the elected officials, the other thing I really like in Scottsdale too, is it's nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you might think someone leans one way or the other, but on paper, it's nonpartisan, and you have to respect it's quote unquote nonpartisan.
And that's sometimes undersaid, but unfortunately, in this world we live today, it becomes rare.
Yeah.
And you can become painted with a brush, of whether you're, a D or an R, doesn't matter, in a nonpartisan election. But people tend to kind of dig into that a little bit. And I see that a lot when I'm talking on just going out to the polling place last election day for the primary. The first thing people ask when you're walking in and you're supporting a council person is he or she a Republican or Democrat? So, well, they're nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, there are different layers of involvement of voters. The hardcore that follow politics like the three of us do, we're going to know what trends an elected official or a candidate is trending. But for the Joe Q public who votes occasionally, they don't know. And they don't follow it as close. So having the not an R, a D, or an I next to your name, it helps. And there's a much higher voter turnout here in Maricopa County than there is across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's impressive. We were just, we talked a little bit off the air about journalism. And back in the day when you had Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and Peter Jennings, you didn't know if Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw, or Dan Rather was a Democrat or Republican.
That's exactly right.
Now it is so jilted
Mm-hmm.
that part, going back to the journalism part, it just bothers me. And I don't like the jiltedness. I like the purpleness of nonpartisanship.
Well, and I also like the fact that we still have some good journalists at the very, very local level doing good work.
John Hook is one of them. I worked with John at KVOA in Tucson, 89, 90, 90-ish. I still respect the depth of him. He's so fantastic. He is a journalist with a capital J on his chest.
Absolutely. Well, and I work with people, I'm on the board of the independent news media, and that's the Scottsdale Independent, the Paradise Valley Independent, and they're the only ones in town covering the school board, city council races, planning commission,
Our
all those critical
local
issues,
news is fantastic.
Yeah.
It is really good if people read it.
Yeah.
That's the question. Yeah. That's one of our challenges.
Right.
Is, how do you market yourself in an era when it's just an explosion of information everywhere, mostly because of social media.
Yeah.
It's just hard to figure out how to make a niche and make people read you. Yeah.
Now, you just had a recent honor also. I think it's kind of an honor. Hopefully you thought it was an honor. You got to speak to the women in leadership at the chamber.
Yes.
That must have been a pretty cool thing. What'd you tell those people?
We are really involved in the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce. And full disclosure, I'm also on the board of the Arizona Italian American Chamber of Commerce.
Why wouldn't you be?
But when I was asked to present in the series, I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
I love mentoring and teaching and helping, but I hate talking about myself.
Mm.
And that speech was really hard for me to write because I always coach people to take I and me out of your vocabulary, make it we, our.
Mm-hmm.
And so to talk about myself they wanted to give me 30 minutes. I said, I did 15 minutes and then I took Q&A.
Okay.
To me, Q&A is more fun anyway.
Yeah.
But Mark Stanton, the head of the chamber, who I love to death, we had breakfast a couple months ago and he said, Liz, I want to hear where you were kicked down, where you got back up, dusted yourself off and did it again, because it wasn't about, all the great accolades I've done. It was meant to be inspiring. And, one of my bullet points says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And so just an honor. The room was full. It was amazing. And I can't thank the chamber enough for including me.
Yeah, that's good. Let's talk about the future of the city. You mentioned Riot's got some plans for expansion, some new techniques and new establishments here. What's ahead in Scottsdale for you?
We have Calle Rosa that'll be opening on Camelback, which is going to be a high-end restaurant 5-star restaurant. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, we're building it from the ground up. We have another steak restaurant that we're working on right now where the old Mint location was. So, and we just opened 7 with the partnership with Caesars Republic. So all of our expansion in Scottsdale is high-end restaurant based.
Yeah.
Our nightlife is fantastic, but we have the ability and the autonomy to do whatever we want, whenever we want. And if we see a location, and that one of the greatest things about our CEO, Ryan Hebert, and the company that he built is we don't go out and say we want to put 5 farm and craft restaurants in these 4 cities. We find a good piece of real estate for whatever we think is a good deal. And then he decides what concept we want to put in there.
That's good.
And sometimes we don't even have the concept built. Calle Rosa is an original concept. So that's the fun part of our company is we have a marketing department that works super hard on promoting our locations. I work on promoting our company. We're 1,000 people, a national company, and we're proud of it, but we're based here.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
You must be pretty excited about the economy then, because you guys are pretty smart about what you're doing. You're very strategic about what you're doing. You wouldn't be building those concepts here, but you had 3 or 4 coming to Scottsdale,
right?
If you weren't super bullish about the economy then.
I would say it's more about how confident we are and how we run our business and the quality that we provide and the great entertainment value that we provide. We want every customer to have the best experience. And when they come back, we want them to have an even better experience. And that really is driven by our culture that our Chief Operating Officer, Justin Cohen, pushes down all the way down to back of the house. It is how we treat our customers and the experiences that we give them so that they want to come back for more. So look, there's always going to be a need to eat and drink. We are proud of our high quality food, our really intricate, unique cocktail menus at all of our locations. They're all unique. And that's the secret sauce. Next year will be our 15th year.
That's right. That's great. So Scottsdale and Gilbert, you've got places in Gilbert here too.
We have Dirk Bentley's Whiskey Row in Gilbert.
Right. Have you thought about other places in the Phoenix area besides Scottsdale and Gilbert? What's that look like?
You know what? We're always looking.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 14 open now. I think by the end of 2025, we'll have 16, 17 open. I might pass out by
Nashville's
then.
a big market for you guys too, right?
Yes, we have Dirk Bentley's Whiskey Row on 4th and Broadway in Nashville, which is just amazing. And it's funny, Dirk Bentley, when he's in town, he'll just walk in, go up to the bar, have a beer.
Wow.
And bartenders will be like, hi,
Yeah,
what are you doing here? Like, he'll just come in unannounced. We have Handcut Chop House, which opened 2 years ago in Nashville also. And we are going to open in a couple of years a absolutely beautiful, huge concept at 2nd and Broadway. Can't announce what it is yet.
Okay,
but
stay tuned.
It's just, it's another great community where we have great relationships. And I should mention our foundation, Riot Gives Back.
Yeah.
That we started 3 years ago. We're blessed to have been able to start a foundation. But our 3 pillars of giving are military members and their families, first responders, and the compassionate care of children. So we have the ability to use that foundation to give back in all the communities that we serve.
You've been doing that in Scottsdale a couple of times over, right? Yeah.
Yes. If I mentioned all the organizations we are involved in Scottsdale, I'd probably leave them out. But in the last 3 years, we've been able to contribute to over 80 locations across the country.
Fantastic.
80 organizations, I should say.
Love it when your organizations give back like that. It makes you part of the community, and you've become part of the community since you've become in Scott. Particularly you. You've been a welcome addition, I think, you've been a big Scott supporter. You've been a big community supporter. So you've really gotten ingrained in Scottsdale, which is good to see.
That's exactly when I joined the company. It was the right time to join them. And it was the right time to do for them what they didn't have. Yeah. They didn't have a government relations person. They didn't have an external communications person. And I love my job. I love interacting with people. I love, shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah.
and spreading the good word of what we do, because what we do makes people feel good. They have a great time.
What do you do for fun?
I love playing golf. I got my first hole-in-one.
I have never had one.
On Saturday.
Where were you playing?
I was playing back in Chicago.
Okay.
And I just I'm still pinching myself that I got a hole-in-one, but golf is a big thing for me.
Okay.
Spending time with my family, being Italian.
Yeah.
Going to visit my family in Italy is important to me too.
How often do you go to Italy?
Go about twice a year.
Do you really?
You
Okay.
twice a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's easy for me. I stay with my family.
Yeah.
It's not people think, if anyone wants to go to Italy, don't think it's going to cost a lot because it's not. You can go very easily, not spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just it's where you stay and what you do. And
I've been once and done the usuals over there, but I'm going to go back and see more of it. Where do you go in Italy? Where's your family?
So I have more family in Italy than I have in the States. So that's why we go a lot. And I was blessed to baptize my daughter in the church that my grandfather was baptized in the region of Abruzzo,
Okay.
in a little town called Civitanova Roveto, which is 3,000 people. Raise your hand if you've heard of it.
Nobody.
No hands are going up.
It's an hour and a half east of Rome. So
Okay.
I'm Calabrese and Abruzzese, but my family half live in Abruzzo and the other half live in Rome.
Okay. So it would be really cool to have family over there and have a place to stay. I'd go over there twice a year too if I were you.
I miss my family. I just was back there. I got back 2 weeks ago
Did you?
and I miss them.
Yeah.
But the great thing is we use WhatsApp all the time.
Yeah.
I video talked to them yesterday, and it's thank God technology has really closed the gap, because I remember when I used to write letters to them.
I know. Remember when we used to write letters to each other and put stamps on them and put them in the mail and let them
You
roll?
wrote a letter to a person a mile away.
Yeah, that's true.
I know. Yeah. Technology has done amazing things. Well, it's allowed us to come to a brand new studio like this too, and kick off our next new season with a new place and and the guest we've been looking for a long time.
Yeah, season 3 was a big success.
Big success for sure. And what a great conversation today, Lissa. It's been wonderful getting to get you on air. I've been getting to know you a little bit more. I learned a couple things today. Kevin, we need to get her on the golf course.
Absolutely.
Let's do that for
Twist my
sure.
arm.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing tomorrow?
We'll do some
jazz.
jazz.
I know, right?
Wait.
Yeah, we're working. Yeah.
Exactly. But
And I want to thank you two for doing what you do, because podcasts are very important. They're a huge part of our social medium today, and it gives people another way to be informed. And this goes back to my career in journalism, just informing. Information is knowledge, knowledge is power. So thank you for both what you do.
Yeah, thanks.
well, and we all love Scottsdale. That's why
do.
we're here, right? It's all about being positive about Scottsdale, looking at the upside of things here rather than the downside some people tend to do. And it's so easy to be positive about Scottsdale. There's so many cool things and so many cool people right here in our midst.
And this podcast is part of the Scottsdale Coalition Tomorrow, which Don runs, which also does lots of other cool stuff like your roundtable that you do. Is very important, and the newsletter you send out is educating people and giving them good information. So
part of it. Yeah, well, we're all in it together, and we're all involved in all of these elements, and we're all here for the good of Scottsdale. That's what it's all about.
And that's the heart of what I do for Riot Hospitality Group, is because we generate a lot of tax revenue for the city.
Mm-hmm.
The tourism budget is 25% of Scottsdale's entire budget.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever we can do to funnel more money into tourism, into Scottsdale budget, is why I do what I do.
Perfect. It makes total sense. Yeah. Lissa, you're a star in Scottsdale.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. Kevin, always good to catch up with you.
See you soon.
We're going to be back on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So listeners, we're back. We've had the summer off, and now we're back with great guests like Lissa Druss. Thank you for Lissa for being here today. And thanks to all of you for listening and being with us. We're back on track. See you next week for the next edition of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.